Okay, as you can see, I have the 4 queens and the 4 jacks on the table. Now, the queens and jacks are very close friends within their respective groups, that is. So if you were here, I'd have you tell me how to stack these. You want the queens on the jacks? Okay, very good. Now, since we both saw the cards, we kind of know where things are. Let's begin to randomize the packet. In fact, I'm going to give you a whole series of choices. And before we do that, I'm going to have you do something very interesting here. I'm going to spread these out. And what I need you to do now is just point to any one of the cards. And it truly is a free choice, okay? So maybe you point to, let's say, this one right here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it face up, okay? And so throughout all this mixing, that Queen of Hearts is going to be staring up at the blue sky, okay? Okay, so there we go. So she'll be looking heavenward the whole time. So I thought maybe we would do a Klondike shuffle. And now we can do, now this is where you take the top and bottom off as one, if you've seen it before. Now you're going to tell me how many times to perform each of these shuffles. And it truly is a free choice. Okay, so when you go to perform this, the spectator could say do it 12 times if you have the patience, right? Should I do it a second time? Your choice. Yes, one more time. Okay, very good. So we'll do it a second time. You're just taking the top and bottom off as one. I thought we'd also do a mange shuffle. Let me just show you what it is first, and then you can decide if we do more of them or a variation on it. So the mange over-under works this way. You push the top card into your other hand, and then this one goes over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And so there's also a mange under, over, where you start by putting that second card under. Would you like to do any more of these? And if so, which one? You want to do another over, under, like we just did? Okay. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over. Would you like to do maybe one under, over? Okay, that's fine. So now we'll go under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay. Would you like to follow that up with a Klondike that we've shown you already? You would. Okay, so we'll just do one Klondike. Unless you want more Klondikes. That's enough? Okay. Let's do something called the Charlier one. It's kind of a fun one. This is where you push the top card over, and then the bottom goes on top. Top card goes on the bottom. Bottom card on top. Top card over here goes on the bottom. Bottom to top, top to bottom, bottom to top. Okay, so it's kind of a fun shuffle to learn and to watch people do. Would you like to do a second one? No. Okay, that's fine. We can do a traditional left-right with random stacking decided by you. How would you like these stacked? Right on left? Also, something we haven't been doing much, but we can actually just deal them down like this way. Okay, so it is very much a different shuffle. It truly is. How would you like these stacked now? Right on left? Okay. We can deal into 4 piles also, which is kind of interesting. And here we have a whole bunch of choices that you can make. We can stack from left to right, right to left, and then there's something called a leapfrog stacking that's kind of fun. So which of those 4 would you like? Leapfrog from right to left. Okay, so how this works is this card leaps over its neighbor there and lands here. This one leaps over its neighbor here and lands there. And then how would you like these stacked? Left on right? Okay. And then we can do a similar thing here if you'd like. You can go 1, 2, 1, 2. It's just another way of getting 4 piles, really. What would you like for the stacking? Just left to right? No leapfrog. Okay. That's just fine. And, oh yeah, we haven't done this yet. It's called an alternate Klondike. It's a fun one. This is where you Klondike a pair here on the left, one on the right. Klondike a pair on the left, one on the right, with random stacking decided by you, the spectator. How would you like these stacked? Left on right? Okay. We can even go beyond that with this alternate Klondike. Believe it or not, you can Klondike pairs into 4 piles. Okay, so that's getting pretty crazy here. So how would you like these 4 piles stacked? Just right to left, no leapfrog. Okay, very good. Okay, and then finally we can also do something just called a 50% cutting of the cards. So this is where you take the top 4, take them and drop them on the bottom, and then the bottom becomes the top. That's called a 50% cut, very common way to mix the cards. And I honestly don't remember if we've done this one. It's called a 50% coating. This is where you just deal out half the cards, so 4 of them, and then random stacking here. Okay, so coding it, capital C-O-A-T, it stands for count, out, and transfer. And so how would you like these stacked? Left on right? Okay, very good. Now, would you like to do any of the other shuffles that we've shown you today? And I could also mention there's something called a square shuffle, which is kind of fun, but we don't have to do it. Are you interested in a square shuffle? Since we've done a triangle shuffle, would you like to see a square shuffle? You would. Okay, so this is where you go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you can stack the top row on top of the bottom, or this first column on top of the second, or vice versa. What would you like to do? You want the top row on top of the bottom. Okay, and then how would you like these stacked? Right on left? Okay. Very good. Well, I think you would have to agree that the cards are beyond the knowledge of anyone. Honestly, they really, really are. No one could follow this. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is I mentioned to you that the queens and jacks, that is, sorry, kings aren't here. The queens and jacks are very close friends within their respective groups. That is, okay. So the Queen of Hearts, since she has a close bond with her 3 other sisters there, I think she can find them with her eyes closed. Wouldn't that be amazing? With her eyes closed, she's going to find them. Okay, so let's just see if she can do that. So we have the 8 cards here. I'll just spread them out so that she can kind of find her sisters there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move these over like that, and then we're going to cover her eyes, which is hard to do because she has eyes on both sides. Okay, we'll cover her eyes here. Okay, so she can't see anything. Okay, so she's going to find her sisters. Oh, that's really interesting. One of her sisters was very, very close. Oh, there she is. Okay, very, very close. Nope. Yeah, she's just kind of giving me little nudges as to which direction I should move her. Oh, way over here. Oh, that's a sister that's far away. How'd you get out way over there? Okay. And where's the 4th sister? Right? Nope. Right here? Okay, well, let's check. You found your 4 sisters. 3 sisters, I guess, sorry. Very, very good. And that would leave the knucklehead jacks up here. There you go. Okay. So she was successful. Now I wonder if the jacks could have done that. Maybe. But the Queen of Hearts was able to pull it off. Okay, so how does this effect work? Well, it uses Bessey sequences of order 8. Again, of course. You've seen that a few times if you've been watching my videos recently. So this is just another fun way to make use of your knowledge of Bessey sequence structure. Oh, in fact, what I need to do is I'm going to move over. So I'm going to move these cards out of the way and put down a write-up. Okay, so here is the kind of standard Bessey sequence representation right here, 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 0. Now technically the zeros and ones can switch places, and that's still a Bessey sequence. So that's why it's sequence is. There's 2 of them. There's this one, and then this one where the zeros and ones switch places. Okay. Okay, so how this works is, okay, so we had the queens going off the camera view a little bit there. Sorry about that. And then the jacks over here, kind of where we started, right? Okay, so what we did was we randomly stacked these, and it truly is a random choice there. And then we did a triangle deal. Now, what the triangle deal does is it puts them, the cards, the jacks and the queens, in this very special relationship relative to each other. So this is technically now a Bessey sequence of order 8 relative to the queens and the jacks. Okay, so maybe just to show you this, so if you associate a 1 with a jack and 0 with a queen, you'll see that you have a 1 jack, 0 0, so queen queen, a 1 jack, a 0 which is a queen, 2 1s, a couple of jacks, and then 1 0 which is a queen. Okay, so this packet has this structure here. Now this structure is, we call it invariant. It's unharmed by a whole host of systematic shuffling procedures that we commonly use today. And I have a list of just 10 of them here that we looked at, that I used and we can look at. Okay, so right now, because it's in this organization, you can put this packet through tremendous mixing and it won't harm the organizational structure of this packet. Okay, let me just point this out. In the end, the packet will either look like this: jack, queen, queen, jack, queen, jack, jack, queen, or its inversion: queen, jack, jack, queen, jack, queen, queen, jack. It's one of those two. One of those two will have to happen in the end, okay? So if you remember, what I did was, after the triangle deal, I gave you the option to turn face up any card that you like, and this is a free choice. So maybe you'll choose this one right here, okay? So this time it's a jack, which is fine, okay? Now the moment you know where this jack is, you know where the other jacks are. That's the important thing, okay? So now, let's see. So now we're associating okay, so the 1 gets matched up with the first card, so that must be a queen, and then that's a jack, our jack that we see. This must be a queen, and then a jack, queen, queen, jack for the last card, right? So you just see right here, okay? So the moment you see where that jack is, you know where its friends are. You know where all of the other ones are if you can just remember this simple sequence of zeros and ones. So it's 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 0. And an easy way to remember this is, if you can just remember that 1001, you get the other half by changing zeros for ones and ones for zeros, for switching them. So switching zeros for ones and ones for zeros, this would become 0 1 1 0, which is what we have here. And then you just, you know, it's the second half of the sequence. Okay, now from this point, you can do any and all of these shuffles. So we did like a 50% coding, deal out half the cards, random stack, doesn't hurt anything. Now it may be flipping it back and forth, right, between a sequence that begins with a 1 and then 0 0 1 and so forth, or a 0 1 1 0 and so forth, right? So there's just 2 possible Bessey sequences of order 8. You can do as many Klondikes as you like. You truly can. You can do 10 of these, or however many the spectator calls for. And then you can do this alternate Klondike, which is pretty amazing that it works. This will not harm anything. Okay, the random stack here. You can even do a judicious alternate Klondike. That's where you go into 4 piles, amazingly enough, and you can stack from left to right, right to left, or leapfrog. Maybe we'll leap over the neighbor there and leap over its neighbor, random stack here, left on right. And then of course LR, a left right, random stacking. Maybe they'll ask for that. None of this is hurting the packet, by the way. I even did that square deal. Now technically the square deal is just another way of, it's another way of dealing out into 4 cards and then stacking them using one of the options I would give you to stack them. Okay, so here we can stack top row on top of the bottom, or the first column on top of the second, or vice versa. So maybe they'll want the second column on top of the first, and then the bottom row on top of the top. Okay, none of that hurts anything. 50% cut, that's where you just cut off half and move it to the bottom. Charlier 1 is actually equivalent to a 50% cutting. This is the same as just cutting the packet in half and moving the top half to the bottom, which is pretty amazing. I'll include a link in the description to the Charlier 1 shuffle that will kind of teach you how to do that more slowly. And then the Mons shuffle comes in 2 varieties. We can do over, under, over, under, over, under, over. We can do 7 more of those, 2 more, 0 more, whatever the spectator would like. We can also do an under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And then maybe to finish, we'll just do a left, right, just do 1 more of those. The fact is, you can do any of these that you want, and then we'll stack left on right. And then at this point, you know, whatever narrative you want, you can come up with whatever story you would like. The moment you see where that jack is, you know where all of its friends are. I mean, that's the fact. Okay, so with a jack here, that means it's associated with that 1. That tells you that all of the 1s here are jacks. Okay, and then this first card must be a 0. Okay, I guess I'm reading it backwards, so sorry about that, as far as for most people. So let's see, why don't we put it this way. I just don't want to confuse people, but now our jack's upside down. Okay, so, and the fact is you could read it either direction, and you'll be able to find the friends, but technically this is the top card. I guess I should have, you know, been careful, but okay, so it looks like, so the top card would be a queen. So here we go, 0, so that's where our jack is. So all of the 0s, as kind of lined up now with how I've displayed the packet, will be jacks, okay? So all of the 0s are jacks, all of the 1s are queens, okay? So this is a queen right here. These 2 are jacks, and then a queen, jack, queen, queen, jack, okay? So you know that to be the case. Now, the thing to remember is if this card is second from the top, that means it's one of these little internal cards, right? Even if it's over here. So one of Jack's friends will be right next to him, you know, and you can have it discovered in the way that I showed you where, you know, they're sensing where the other Jack is, kind of thing. So however you want to kind of spin that, or what kind of story you'd like to come up with. So we have queen, jack, jack, queen. And now this one here, so think about it. What's this going to be? This is going to be a jack. Queen, queen, jack. So you could, you know, I think the way I did it was I said, oh, wow, that's weird. One of these cards that we're looking for is way over here, which it is, right? So it's right there. And then the other one, so that's where the 0 is. Where the other one is where the other 0 is, okay? So you just jump right there. I'm trying to leave them lined up with the numerals above so you can kind of follow things. So there you go. So once you know the location of any one of the cards within the 2 groups, either one of the 2 groups, you know the location of all of the cards, okay? In terms of where the jacks are and where the queens are. Now, you won't know where the jack of clubs is necessarily. Well, we do. Here, we saw it. But jack of spades or something. But you will be able to find its friends, which also means you can find the queens, because it'll be the ones that are not jacks, right? Okay, so that's how that works. It's just using a Bessey sequence of order 8 to pull it off, because this organizational structure to the packet will not be harmed by a whole host of shuffling procedures that we use in card magic or in card games, okay? So you can perform any of these as many times as you like, and then you just look to see where that one card is that the spectator turned face up. From there, you can quickly deduce where that card's friends are. Now, one thing I just thought of that would be kind of fun to do, and the spectator wouldn't pick up on anything, is before you even, if you're concerned about this sequence, you know, if you're concerned about remembering this sequence here, okay, this 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 0, what you could do, and I'm kind of looking for a decent pen, I guess I'll just use the blue one. What you could do is you could just have this, and you don't have to use colors or anything. Oh, by the way, the little vertical bar, it just aids us in seeing where the center is. I'll move this over so you can see it here. That bar in the middle just kind of shows us, it's like a dividing line. So we have 1, 0, 0, 1, like on the left, and then 0, 1, 1 on the right. Okay. In some ways, you could have this off to the side. This would have no meaning whatsoever to anyone unless they've studied Bessey sequences of order 8. And very likely they haven't. So you could have this on some like scratch piece of paper or write it on some other paper that has other stuff on it. And then you could, kind of feign concentration as you kind of look off into the distance and have your eyes glaze over and just concentrate and, and take a, catch a peek of this. And so once you know, like we did right here, we knew that our card was right there, our jack. So our jack was right there, and so you would know the other jack's next to it. A third jack's way over here, and then the fourth one's just right there. Okay, so you could even have that as a cheat sheet. I've never thought of that before because I just have memorized the sequence. So anyway, that would be kind of a clever way to go, is just have that written off. And no one is going to discover the method. There is no way on this green earth anyone's going to make a connection between this weird stuff and what we've done here today. So anyway, thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.